Welcome, Trinity community. This is Rebecca Thomas coming to you with our online version of the Trinity Parent Organization meeting. We're so glad you've joined our session today. When we planned this meeting months ago, we certainly did not plan to gather virtually via an online Zoom meeting. But we are thankful for the resources available to be able to gather together and to spend some time getting to know Abby Stitzinger, our Director of Learning Services, who is new to Trinity since January. So in a few minutes, I'm going to interview her. We're going to get the chance to get to know her a little bit and hear about her vision and plans for learning services at Trinity. But before we do that, I want to just say a quick word to you as Trinity parents. I want to thank you for the incredible spirit that has been on display in recent weeks. I have seen such enthusiasm and creativity and flexibility and perseverance in recent weeks as we have switched to distance learning. I know that in probably every home there have been challenges, and there has just been a marvelous spirit on display in meeting those challenges. So thank you for what you are doing. I have been so proud of Trinity, from our administration, our teachers, our staff, all the way to you as Trinity parents. Thank you for how you are investing in your children and how you're investing in Trinity. We are very thankful for you. I also want to say that if you have any prayer needs at all, please don't hesitate to contact us. Kristen Johnson has been continuing her the Moms in Prayer group that meets at Trinity. And so you can definitely contact her with any prayer requests, or feel free to contact me with any prayer requests during this time. And finally, I want to let you know about a link that will be in this Friday's Parent News for you to vote for next year's TPO Leadership Council. It'll take you less than 30 seconds, but we really want to hear from you. And so look for that link in the Parent News, and we would love to have you participate. All right, so let's turn our attention now to Abby Stitzinger, as I said, our new Director of Learning Services at Trinity. She's going to share with us a little bit about her background and also her vision for the program at Trinity. And Abby, we're so thankful to have you spending time with us today.
And first off, thank you, Rebecca, for having me. And I just want to extend a gratitude and thanksgiving to the Trinity community. I felt so welcomed since my time in January, and it has just been a blessing to me. And yeah, so thank you, TPO, for having me, and again, for extending that warm welcome. I came to know the Lord very early on in age, and my dad was a pastor, and so I definitely had a rich relationship with the Lord. Moving into adolescence and high school, I experienced a lot of changes within my family's dynamic, and also more particularly in high school, I felt very burned by a Christian community after I had experienced some hardship. And I think that ended up causing me to want to question some of the beliefs that I had as a child. And I ended up running away from the Lord and from the community that I once held very dear. And, you know, I really wanted to sort of go out into the world and just sort of experience what that was like. And I even went so far to move to a foreign country, and you know, and I think that throughout each step of my life, the Lord followed me, and He called my name. And it was a true expression in a sense of Psalm 139, that the Lord knows when we rise and when we sleep, and when we travel and when we stay at home. And the Lord, you know, again, he asked me, Abby, are you ready to come back to me? And twice I actually said, no, Lord, I need more time. I'm not ready to kind of take on the challenges and the responsibility of a life of faith. But the third time I heard the Lord's voice, out of probably proper fear and trepidation, I returned and actually returned to America and began furthering my education in the field of special education. The Lord was so dear and gentle to me throughout my entire life. But specifically in my return to him, he just continued to fill me with grace and his truth and his assurance, and reigniting parts of myself that, he wanted to prune. And so I have seen his hand move in my life, and I really do believe that he has called me to the field of special education, which was what I received my master's in at the University of Colorado in Colorado Springs. And the Lord has just really blessed my my career in terms of teaching students with various disabilities, and then ending up stepping into a leadership role for a special education coordinator in North Carolina, and then of course now joining the community as Director of Learning Services. So the Lord has definitely been with me through my personal life, through my education, and also my career. So I'm grateful that he has brought me to the Trinity community, and I do really believe that he has a special plan and purpose for us, and as we advance learning services.
So I'm curious to know what some of your first impressions have been since you have come to Trinity in January.
My first impression was just the high caliber of education in the Trinity classroom. I was really just blown away by the quality of teaching and engagement. I've seen an incredible commitment from every angle of the Trinity community to advancing the purpose and the mission that Trinity is called to. And again, just the sense of appreciating and uplifting one another. As I mentioned earlier, I just have felt such a warm welcome from every front, the parent community, the directors, and the faculty and staff. And that has just been an incredible blessing. And so I just really honor and respect the commitment of the teachers and then the parents to be in partnership, to advance the mission of Trinity. I think another impression that I've had off the bat is just the incredible advocacy that I've seen the parent community have on behalf of their children, and the time and the care that they've taken to learn their students' learning profile. I have just seen a sense of real commitment to know their students, to know their children, and to help them thrive in an environment like Trinity. And so lastly, I just feel like even in a short amount of time, I've sensed a great level of partnership between the parent community and the learning services program, to know that so many parents have probably felt alone in this process for a long time of asking questions like, my child might learn differently, or maybe they're not as successful with just the traditional teaching style or curriculum. And so they have really gone above and beyond to help teachers with grace understand their child. And so I've been grateful to be a part of a community where I feel like I'm really coming alongside a family and understanding their child and helping advocate on their behalf for their for their child's needs and their success and well-being in the classroom.
So what have you been working on? What have been your priorities in your work days so far at Trinity?
So I would say that my first priority in joining the Trinity community has been primarily focused on listening. I feel like, when you are new to a community, it's so important to get a sense of the needs, especially of the students. So that way, as we go to build a learning services program, we can really mold and create it based on our students' needs. So I have wanted to listen to a lot of families, read a lot of the psychological reports that are on file to get a sense of the learning profiles and challenges, and also hearing a lot from the teachers and making sure that they are able to safely express their struggles or the ways in which they care so deeply about meeting their students' needs, but don't necessarily feel like they have the right tools or the capacity or the equipment to do so, or to continue to meet the needs of a changing demographic. So I've wanted to receive that input from parents and from the faculty, and of course, the division directors, and making sure that I'm learning about their vision for each branch of the Trinity community. And I think that with that listening and with the time that it takes to build relationships, I know that there is a level of trust that is needed, as learning services is a very new program, and whether new conceptually and in practice. And so I do feel like sort of my second objective is to help build that trust and form strong relationships with the stakeholders, and help again, parents and teachers trust that learning services has the students' well-being and actually the teachers, and really wanting to just help the Trinity community thrive. And also, I would say, to help fulfill its mission of truly knowing and loving our students. And I think learning services is really at the heartbeat of that mission. My third priority is to really help the Trinity community learn more about learning disabilities or attention differences, so that, again, because this department is new, and maybe some of the language or just the concept itself is maybe it's new, and it's also very emotional for families who may be discovering this for the first time. So I definitely want to see the department again uphold that partnership with families to help them feel supported as they're exploring their child's learning profile. And again, just going back to the teachers and helping them feel supported in and building their capacity to teach students with learning challenges or attention difficulties. And then finally, my last priority is to help Trinity cast a vision for learning services. Again, based on the students' needs and the families and what they desire and what they're looking for, and helping us ask the right questions, so we can build a program that is sustainable and appropriate for the Trinity community.
Abby, with all the expertise you bring, tell us what, in your view, you think a healthy and robust program would look like.
Building a strong and robust learning services program needs to be built on that foundation of that trust and partnership with families. I know that children can have a learning challenge or a struggle at any point in time in their academic career. And so I think that the first step is helping families feel as though the right supports are in place from day one, and that there is a plan and a protocol to follow for helping to identify that difficulty and help put the right plans and interventions in place so we can address those concerns. And then again, moving forward with possibly the pursuit of a documented disability if needed. So, so I would say, from the get-go, just making sure that a student team is formed, that the right parties are at the table, parents, classroom teacher, director, learning specialist, and that, we can come up with strategic goals and objectives for a child and help intervene early on. And I am a firm believer in early intervention and believe that that is such a powerful tool to make sure that children are receiving the level of instruction they need, knowing that some children will require that additional intervention in order to be successful and access the material. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they have a learning disability or anything else going on. But also knowing that, as there is a team in place monitoring that intervention and keeping communication open and making sure that the child is successful. If for whatever reason those interventions fail or the student continues to have significant challenges and the team agrees that we really do believe that there is something more significant going on, again, my desire would be for the Learning Services Program to help that process be as easy and seamless as possible. That families would be supported, that they would have the right resources to go to, and that families would feel like that was the appropriate next step. And if that is the case, that a child has received the proper intervention, but yet they are still struggling or showing signs of academic difficulty or attention difficulties or anything else, that we receive that feedback, and that Learning Services has a skilled and well-versed team to read psychological reports and help the team know how to implement some of those strategies. A healthy program would also ask the right questions of what do we do if we have an accommodation plan in place. We have sort of a case management model where students can receive some additional support by a learning specialist, but what happens if they still need more support because of their learning or attention needs? And I think that up to this point, a lot of families have probably been fearful that Trinity is no longer the right place for them. And so I have been so grateful to hear that the leadership has been grappling with these questions for quite some time, and they have invited me to participate and join that conversation. Because I do think it is important to know that we could expand our program to provide alternative classes or study skills programs, executive functioning supports, or just a specialized track, perhaps in math or humanities later on, if needed. So yeah, there are a lot of things that we could do with the program, and I think, like I said, I think we're asking the right questions, and so I'm very hopeful that we will continue on the right trajectory, and yeah, we'll see learning services grow and become a more robust branch of Trinity's tree.
Other thoughts on how you would like to see Trinity's program grow and develop? Maybe even thinking about, what do you dream of for Trinity's Learning Services Program as you look to the future?
Wow, well, I would say that I dream for a community where, you know, disability is welcomed, that we are truly an expression of God's design, and we can celebrate the differences that He's placed in us all. I know that sometimes disability can be such a scary word, and it can it really can be your worst enemy or your best friend. And so I really do see, again, that fulfillment of Trinity's mission, where we are embracing one another, but also being true to who we are, and the mission that we want to uphold. And so I think that building a robust learning services program is such a reflection of the life and vitality of the school as a whole. And so I really do sort of envision just that lifeline, and that sense of renewed hope, and communication and partnership with the families that we currently have, and then all of the families that we have the privilege to serve in the future. So I think that I have some dreams for us missionally. I think I have dreams for more learning specialists, or again, maybe alternative classes, or support study skills, or breakout groups. One of the elements of the work that I've always enjoyed is the creativity that comes with specializing in learning differences, and just being able to think strategically and partnering with people to say, okay, here's our problem, and let's come up with those creative solutions.
That sounds very exciting. I love that. In our final moments here, I want to get real practical with you, tap into this expertise that you're bringing. So a lot of our families have students that are facing challenges in this time of distance learning. What would be some advice that you have for students that are struggling to learn in this environment?
And so I would say that when it comes to distance learning, I really hope that, parents, you will get a sense of what your child needs to be successful and to truly thrive in this environment. I'm sure you are, not that you already knew so much about your child's learning profile, and perhaps you're learning even more about how they interact with the lessons, how they maneuver the platforms in which they need to engage in to access their online learning. So I would say, and just encourage the community to truly speak out and give voice to your experience, and be your student's advocate during this time of distance learning. I believe that, members of the community may never know what someone is experiencing during this time, unless we really come together and talk about it. So I would just highly encourage you, if you feel like you are bearing the weight of your child's learning difference or attention difficulties during this time, speak out and reach out. And I would absolutely love to brainstorm those creative solutions with you. With some of the families that I have been in contact thus far, I have talked to several about just the power of structure and routine. I think that is one beautiful thing for students with learning challenges, is that structure and routine just kind of works like a charm. They're having to deal and juggle with so many things, and if they can anticipate what's coming and they know exactly what is expected of them, they can really thrive in that environment. So as much as is in your power to keep them in the same spot, in the same time frame, the amount of time that they're doing their subjects, or the time of day that they do their subjects, all of those can play into a healthy routine that could hopefully help them stay focused and focused on the task. And I would also say that, distance learning could be a really powerful tool for a lot of a variety of learners during this time, it might also be a blessing in disguise, as some of you may be discovering, especially for students that may have attention deficit concerns, where they do require additional movement, or the time that, just breaking up the time that they spend on each subject. So again, if you're thinking about helping your child develop a specific schedule, consider helping them chunk work into specific time frames. So, and this could work in really truly any grade level. It might be easier for lower school families to do this, or middle school families, as they have fewer live Zoom sessions, but really keeping your child engaged in the work in small snippets of time. So encouraging them to take a lot of breaks and sort of bite-sized pieces of their assignments, and knowing that it's okay to ask your student to work for 25 or 30 minutes, take a short break, especially if they're working on a subject that is particularly challenging for them, maybe filtering that then with an easier subject, and then returning to the harder subject later on in the day. So I know it's the right balance of giving yourself enough breaks so you feel re-energized and recommitted to the work, but not wanting to extend the school day too long. So we are of course in that delicate balance. And yeah, so I would just say chunking is a really powerful technique that could be used, and it could be done with the content or the amount of time you spend. So again, maybe for the younger learners, or even actually for middle and upper school learners too. If you have an article and you're asked to annotate it, maybe you can cut it up, or you can create more white space on the computer, so you're reading less at one time. And it's simply just breaking up the article so you can respond to it in smaller segments, rather than trying to comprehend the whole thing at once and then going to the comprehension questions and applying your reading. So yeah, but then I want to just echo, advocate for your students, and communicate to the teachers or to me the specific challenges or hardships that you're facing. And I really do enjoy partnering with the grade levels and the families to help come up with the right solution to meet your child's needs during this time.
This has been super helpful. I really appreciate you taking this time to share your story and your vision and your expertise with us. I agree. I think the Lord has brought you to Trinity, and I'm really thankful that you're here and that you were able to spend this time with us today.
Thank you so much. Yeah, the honor is mine.
Well, thank you. We look forward to working with you. And Trinity parents, I want to tell you thank you for joining this session. We're so glad that you could be a part of this today. I hope that it has been helpful to you. So take care, stay healthy, and we hope and pray to see you in person very soon.